Just so you all know, I've got a bit of something on all ears.
Yeah, mainly Dad.
I've got something on Jack that I'm ready to go with. I've got a bird at home, would you believe it or not?
Have you bought one?
I've got a conure. I had him since I lived in Canberra. He's 9 years old.
Oh, really?
What? You
Boys-
never told me that.
The boys think it's the funniest thing ever.
That's really weird, eh?
Tweet.
They reckon people that own birds they're 90% more chance of being serial killers. There's a stat.
95. I think.
Is it 95?
Yeah.
We're rolling through
Crookwell.
it.
Are we leaving this on?
Yeah. So what's
All
the
right.
bird called again, Croaks?
His name's Ollie.
Has he ever self-loathed? Because birds sometimes self-loathe and will pull their feathers out.
No,
No,
he
good.
hasn't.
Well,
I
remember
do it-
we
do
had
it for him.
a budgie back in the day, and it grew a tumor, and they said, "Oh, it's going to be dead within a month." It ate it ate its tumor off it,
Yeah.
and then it survived like another year. And then one day it was walking, and it just like froze and died. Remember?
Fredo.
Fredo.
That's right, Fredo. So he had the tumour, so he put a little thing around his neck. Look, anyway, he was going berserk because he knew how to cure it, and he bent down and pecked the tumour out, lived for another couple of years. And mate literally would walk around with the border collies, and just as we were warming to him, he fell off the perch, literally.
How's that make you feel?
Right, they're goers. Abby sat on ours. He's 50 grams. He's only tiny. Abby sat on him. She didn't realise she sat on him. Stood up. Then he's just fallen straight in his side.
Died.
Nah, got up. He's still going. The dog's got him about 6 months ago. His wrist is fused to his shoulder, so he can't fly. Blood all over the house.
Wow.
Oh,
He's
man.
about right, mate.
That's
He's
so,
like
mate.
his- like
Geez,
his old man.
your house is like
Yeah,
a
it's
bloodbath.
I believe I can fly.
Yeah. All right, let me do a quick introduction for you, Croaks. 121 games, Manly 2022 Best and Fairest, a.k.a. the Roy Bull medalist, Lockie Croak, a.k.a. Croaks, a.k.a. the Crookwell Creep. Welcome, Croaks. Welcome to the studio, mate. We've been wanting to have you on for a while.
Yeah, I've just been so busy. I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
Mate, I know. Thank God you're injured because Croaks' schedule, Dad. You've never seen anything like it, mate.
Birds.
Birds,
Yeah.
the bees. He does uni. What do you study at uni again?
I'm doing a Masters of Teaching.
Yeah, right.
Because you also help coach. You do a bit of stuff. We were just talking off there. Jack is assistant coach of the SG Ball at Manly. You do a bit of stuff. You head down there and teach them the nuances of the game for Harold Matts. Is that right?
Correct.
How are those kids? Are they bloody just love having you down there?
Yeah, they're a real good bunch of kids. I don't know if you're going serious with this, but they're they're a real good bunch of kids. Jordan Meredith down there is doing a really good job coaching them, and they're obviously going better than the 19s. I don't know if Jack's got much to do with that, but
Well, what are you guys coming at the moment?
mate, we're second, I think.
And hang on, let me turn Jack's mic up. Jack, what are you guys coming, Jack?
I think we're on the lower part of the ladder, Coop.
Let's be specific.
Well, hey, the boys are playing Newcastle this weekend. All right, this will come out Monday. We'll let you know, mate. I feel a win coming.
Yeah, because apparently that you guys won round one, Jack's team, and Croak's team lost, and they thought, wow, here we go, Jack's gonna.
Park's got a bit confident. I think.
Yeah, Brad Parker, of course, he's doing stuff. Let me just turn Jack
But
down.
it is, turn it down. But it's one of the most rewarding things you can do. You know, teaching and coaching the young blokes. I was sitting there last night and I was thinking, like, some of my favourite memories, best memories and best moments in rugby league have been coaching young guys. It's really good. Seen them improve, and I suppose teaching's another level up from that.
Would you teach PE?
Yeah,
That's what. Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
So you
But-
do. Basically,
well-
do you need a master's to
Well-
teach PE?
Yeah, well, you do got to be able to communicate, delegate, all those things, and it's really important because there's a real lack of male teachers out there, presence, male presence, and for young guys and young girls as well, they need that male influence. It's so important.
Correct. Last night, Croaks, you and I went to
Just
Chris
dismiss
Stapleton.
that. I
Sure,
said something
sure.
so profound.
I know, mate. I know you're a rule breaker. Last night, I went to Chris Stapleton.
We did.
Mate, you're a big country fan. What are your thoughts? You love it?
Yep, it was real good.
How good was he?
Very
Matthew, can I say something to you, Matthew? So, me and Croaks were dressed completely head to toe in country stuff.
No.
So, we had boots on, we had the RM belt on, we had a Kubras on.
Yeah, I saw you leave.
Yeah, we had a Kubras on, and we were probably the only people in the whole concert that were wearing a Kubras.
Well, the last sort of 3 or 4 months, we've had a few country concerts,
yeah,
and we've gone city country, casual.
yeah.
And then we've just really lent into it, got a bit too comfortable, and
Like
only blokes
you fell asleep at Aids at Lochinvar.
That's it. But we were the only ones because at Luke Combs and stuff, everyone was wearing a Kubras and stuff. We went, you know what? Let's be those guys this time. Boom. Only time there was
Okay.
no one wearing a Kubra.
You would have been good for their whiskey brand though.
Why?
You
Oh
had-
yeah,
You were carrying around 4 of them.
yeah.
Well, can I ask you, was the Frontier touring? Cinnabon?
No.
Okay.
I don't know who his touring company was. Not too sure.
Because I said to Coop before you went, I said, is it going to be weird? I'm going to ask this on the podcast. So I thought Coop was driving through, going to be sober, and I was going to say, what do two males do when they're sitting in the audience sober at a concert? Do they sort of sing at each other? Like, what's the vibe?
Yeah, in hindsight,
Well, thankfully we weren't both sober.
yeah. I'd had a few under my belt. Croaks was driving, but no, there wasn't much singing going on.
No.
We were more just admiring the music. Croaks' phone was broken, so his camera was broken, and a few songs come on that he really wanted to get a good video of. And every time a song that he'd come on, he'd just tap me and go, "You reckon you can record this for me?" And I was getting to it, and he's like, "Mate, you reckon you can airdrop that to me? You reckon you can airdrop that to me?"
See how he's...
That's his.
What about the way you're saying that Croak sounds? Hey, mate, you want to go to me?
Airdrop
Like
it to
Kermit
me?
the Frog.
I've got the Lachlan Croker birthday T-shirt on. I wanted to talk through. Yearly, there is a Lachlan Croker birthday party on, and before you and I were mates, Croaks, you had a certain celebrity guest at one of your first birthday parties. One and only Matthew Johns and Jack Johns rocked up. I wanted to ask, were they invited or did they just rock up?
There was no invitation.
No. Who told them to come?
Well, we ended up at the Coleroy.
Yeah.
And obviously, if you're ever at the Coleroy, Matty's there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it used to be.
Yeah, it used to be.
You got banned.
No, I didn't get banned. They just, one night a bloke took a dislike to me and cut me off. And I went, well, that's, I marched down there the next day and said, there's my membership. And they went, oh, no worries.
Now he drinks at home.
Saves money at least.
Yeah, well,
does,
not
yeah.
really, because he just punts all the time.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to drink and watch poker machines on YouTube.
Yeah, you do. If you go on the TV upstairs on the YouTube, it's like recently watched, and there's just like pokey wins.
Pokey wins.
Yeah, he loves it.
Frankenstein, the new one.
Yeah. Anyway,
Sorry.
so what? Go back to you saw him down at Coleroy.
Yeah, so Parks instigated it all. Obviously, I was living in a joint in Coleroy, just on Park Street, and
Beautiful bushland.
yeah, we'll get to that. And so we picked up Matty and we said we're going back to my place to have a barbecue. Do you want to come? So Matty and Jack said absolutely. I was 21 at this age, and seeing Matty was the best thing ever.
Yeah.
Now it's different.
Well, after that afternoon, it was probably,
Yeah.
We went back to my place, had a barbie. My little brother was there. He was losing his mind.
Was he loving it?
Yeah, losing his mind. There was about 9 of us out on this little balcony, and we've driven up. Matty goes, "Oh, geez, we're up in the slums up here, aren't we?" We've come a long way from the basin.
Yeah, it was a joke. It was a joke.
Sure.
Yeah.
It was a tough start, but we got in up the top, and Matty I reckon he talked for 5 hours.
Yeah.
Oh God.
That's what I do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
He'd go, give me a year, give me a period or a place on earth, and I'll tell you a story about it. So we got Stalin, Mussolini, Hitler, invading Poland. We had everything.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Isn't that what every bloke wants when they're on their birthday with all their mates having beers, and you've just got Matty Johns dribbling about the history of
This is
Poland.
the earth.
Yeah.
Aren't you curious? See, this is the problem. I always say I got a fire that burns in me, Croaks, and sometimes I just need a fresh set of ears because these guys have heard all the stories.
Yeah.
Even ones I don't know, I've told them.
Yeah.
As I'm sitting there watching poker machines on YouTube.
Yeah, you love it. What I will say is though, Croaks, your birthday party is turning into one. It's one of my favourite days of the year. It's an amazing. It is an amazing time. I reckon it's. I went to your. Was mine the year after when I
think it
went
was
to
the year
yours?
after.
Yeah, and I reckon I'd met you once.
Well, you were also not invited.
I wasn't invited, but I was texted by once again Brad Parker. He was down there and he said, "Mate, you got to come down the Coleroy. There's an amazing time down there." And I went down there.
It's in our DNA.
Yeah.
It is.
Crash
And I
things.
brought a mate as well. I was a +1, and I brought a +1 as well to Croaks' birthday, and it was good fun. We had the best time. We're so
There's
blind.
about 25 of us. There was a big crew,
Yeah.
and Coops just turned up and brought his mate. Coops just pulled up a stump straight in the middle of the table. I met him once for maybe 5 minutes. He's had 3 or 4 beers and he's tapping his glass saying, "I just want to make a toast to me best mate, Lockie Croker." About 20 minutes later, he's gone, "Hang on, where's me mate?"
Yeah.
And his mate's gapped it.
Yeah.
His Coops is just perched up with the boys that he hasn't met before.
Yeah. Well, I remember Jakey Toroyevich was like, "Righto, Coops, you got a skull because you got to catch up." And then I reckon 5 skulls later, within like 10 minutes, I was doing speeches for Croaks, just saying, he's me best mate. You know, I still remember when he was a little tucker back in Crookwell, and he's come so far. And then Finn Heath, one of my best mates, who was sitting down the end on his own. Nobody. I don't think anyone had even said a word to him the whole time. Feethy just disappeared.
Yeah.
They're completely just gone.
It worked out well for you, mate. You've been invited to the last 5.
That's Jake Travojevic for you. Like,
Yeah.
what a grub.
Yeah, I will say, Jake is a rugby league nice guy. Geez, he can drink.
Can he really? I mean, look at that head.
Yeah, mate, he can push him back. And, like, if you get in a round with him, like, he can skull. And he gets... We spoke about turbo rounds on the potty before. Turbo rounds where Turbo comes back with, like, 20 drinks. Jake does the same thing. There should be Gerbo rounds as well because they both just come back with tray of, like, 20 drinks.
Well, you've seen the old man, Big John?
Yeah.
Yeah, he can. Something tells me Big John could put him away.
Yeah, agreed.
Bloody oath.
What did it look like the golf trips you blokes go on? I remember you blokes leaving to go on a golf trip.
Keeks won't remember
And
this.
when he got out of the car on the way back, I thought, is that my son?
Yeah. Is it still a yearly thing at Manly? The golf trip? Not really.
Not for you.
No, well, obviously not because I don't play anymore. Yeah, but where did we went to the Central Coast? Do you remember when we ended up going to some Central Coast joint? We got an Airbnb, and we were supposed to have a big golf day. There was probably limited golf being played in this joint. It was a really good trip. It was loose. It was a very loose trip. Croaks was. I feel bad because I don't want to talk about it too much because Croaks was like the worst on ground. He got so blind we had to put him to bed.
Who was the worst? If you do 3, 2, 1, best on tour.
In my head, I was the best, but when everybody else described it back, they said that I was actually the worst. I remember Morgan Boyle, who's he was standing above me at one stage, putting me into bed, saying, "If you get out of bed one more time, I'm going to knock you out."
There was a chokehold at one stage, wasn't there?
There was a chokehold at one stage, yeah. And then he said, "I'm going to knock you out." And I remember looking at him. I said, "You may as well do it now because I'm getting out of bed." Yeah, but it was
not much of a threat. I've seen Morgan Boyle tackle, so a relative of yours.
Yeah, he's your cousin?
We'll get to that. About you, Canberra boys. Quite incestuous, aren't you all?
yeah.
The Lynx, the Mullins, the
I know where this is
Hetheringtons.
going.
Yeah. We'll get there.
You'll get
Hey,
there.
listen, as we are recording this, tonight on my show, we are showing Haumole Olakau'atu's hit on poor old Leon being levelled.
Yeah. Did you see it?
That was...
What were your thoughts?
I knew it was going to be big, but
Yeah.
it was so much bigger than I thought it was going to be.
God. Yeah, it was sickening. Haumole, you know what?
Haumole didn't get the facts.
No. You know what? Leading up, Benny Hogarth, dad producer, said to Haumole, "Oh, you know what we might do? We might get him to run at you a couple times, like for footage." And he was like, "Yeah, sweet." And after that one hit, it was like, and Benny was like, "We don't need any more." Like it was. I thought he killed him on stage.
When it was like the bloke who showed the most empathy was Tom Travojevic. Tom went over and Tom was filthy and said, "Mate, are you okay?" And then Leon come through
Yeah.
and sort of said, "Yeah."
Yeah. He was in a bad way apparently for a few days too.
Well, imagine feeling that for the first time ever
Yeah, true.
and going straight to the top.
Yeah, true. Because I suppose it's like when you haven't, when you go back to preseason after 3 months of doing no tackling, and for like 2 weeks your shoulders and your neck is so sore just from getting used to it again.
Well, I said to Leon straight after it, I said, "You've got adrenaline going through you at the moment." I said, "You've got to get some anti-inflammatories, get some painkillers ready because this is going to be really bad." He went, "Oh, no, I feel okay." I said, "Mate, you have had a car accident at 80 kilometres an hour."
Yeah.
Because that's been showed with GPS, hasn't it? Like that sort of hit is a front-on impact of like 60 to 80 k's an
Yeah,
hour.
I think that's what they say. And he's a tall fella, and he ran upright, which is you shouldn't do. You can see on the slow mo, his neck is that whiplashed after it. Like his neck literally, as Haumole hits him, I think his head hits Hamole's back. Yeah. He's got that whiplash.
Well, the genesis was because Leon's a basketball player. And sometimes you look at a sport and you go, I reckon I could do that. He came out with this foolish statement that he said, "I reckon I could play 40 minutes of football, half of football, and get through." And the boys were like, "Leon, there is no way. It's so much tougher than it looks on TV. It hurts so much more." And he goes, "No, I reckon I could do it." Anyway, unbeknownst to him, we had Haumole lined up, and he thought he was turning up to sort of produce a one-on-one interview, face-to-face. And when he turned up and it was told that, "Mate, you got to run at Haumole," you could almost hear his bowel just...
Yeah. Oh, yeah. How many of the boys? You reckon if he ran at anyone in the squad, they would have pumped him? But
Not like that,
Not like
but-
that. But like,
And also, if someone's turning up saying they can do that, you're probably throwing a bit more into it than you normally would.
And Hamoli's got a reputation. You have to protect your reputation. Like if he'd have got there and sort of hit Leon, and Leon had gone, I'm okay. You would suggest that people would look and go, oh well. But he obviously had his head on
Yeah.
and decided that someone was going to pay,
Yeah, correct.
and it was going to be Leon.
Jack, did you want to say something?
Lachlan, could I just get Mr. Masters of Teaching? Could I just get you to place your mic a little bit closer to your mouth? That's
Oh.
right.
So that's the next thing. It's the next subject we're doing.
Cooper's supposed to be having eyes on that. He's just,
I'm too busy.
He's too locked in on
Apologies.
on his golf trip story.
Sorry. I'd like to talk to me, mate.
I don't want me nostril over the top of it.
No, it's a fair schnoz.
Oh, I have a bit of that too.
Yeah.
I do a bit of-
Yeah, I tell you, all the time we get feedback from people listening in AirPods and cars. They go, "Who's the heavy breather?" Because Dad's a real mouth breather. Can you not breathe through your nose at all?
No, I can't.
No.
I can't breathe.
Have you ever thought about having that surgery?
No, I don't. I don't like needles.
But you don't need needles. You have surgery.
Yeah, to knock you out, you do. I only have surgery when it's absolutely necessary. I was almost crippled from my lower disc, had tendons wrapped around nerves.
Yeah.
And only got to the point that I get up every day crying. Well, actually, the tipping point became when one day my legs just basically felt like they're going to explode. And I said, take me to the hospital, Trish, and she tried to push me in the car, and I couldn't get in the car. And I was actually laying on the front lawn. We called the ambulance, and I thought a couple of, ambulances. Because when you think ambulance men, you think ambulance men turn up. We had turned up, and these two young ladies, and I'm laying on the front lawn crying with those two looking over the top of me. It was a low moment in my life.
I can imagine. Because you're supposed to have a knee reco as well, right?
Supposed to have double shoulder reco and knee reco.
But like now, like you're supposed to have a knee reco.
I'm supposed to get a knee replacement.
Yeah.
Holding it off.
Are you
Double
just-
shoulder replacement, holding it off.
Yeah.
I'm just a warrior. I just walk down the street and I can feel the neighbours just look and go, wow, what he gave to the game, what he continues to give to the game. What do you think Manly this year, Croaks?
I'm excited. I'm excited. We still got a bit of we've got room to grow. Offensively we're very good. Obviously Turbo, Ches, Brooksy.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah,
I'm
mate,
not-
it's like you blokes are a good spine. It's good. Yeah, it's good. Almost good as you get it in the competition.
Yeah. When are you back?
Top 5.
Round 4 or 5, I reckon.
Round 4 or 5? Because you did your meniscus?
Yep, had a meniscus repair before Christmas.
Yeah. Did you have you trained much on field with the boys?
Not at all.
Not the whole preseason.
No.
Well, you're obviously around most of the team meetings and that. Because the knock, even when I was there at Manly, is always like our best was a 10 out of 10 and our worst was a 3 out of 10. How do you see like this year playing out? What's the expectation for the squad?
We obviously, like you speak about playing in the top 4, and it's obviously very hard to win a competition outside of the top 4. So we're well aware of where we need to finish the year. But I think for us to get there, we need to be a lot better defensively. The way that we attack and the way that we play the game, when things are perfect for us, we're very good. As soon as we have one or two things go against us, we're defending our line. We've still got a lot of room to grow in that department, and obviously we've spent a lot of time working on it. The boys are working really hard on it, and every team's winning the comp in November, December, and once live bullets start flying around, come round 1, you find out where you're at, and that's where we're at. We've done the work, and we're ready to go and see where it leads us.
I can't tell you how many times, Lachlan, I've seen you blokes. Whenever I think of when you talk about a certain side, I get an image of that side. And for Manly, it's you blokes starting the game in the first 25 minutes, just rolling forward, playing a bit of sideline to sideline, just nailing everything, and me watching going, these blokes are on, they're going to win by 30 points. Then invariably, as fatigue starts to set in, you continue to try to play that style of football, and you just have trouble defending your errors. So, like, the attack puts so much pressure on the defence. But here I am telling you about the team.
It's
Just tell me shut up.
I tell you what, though, I don't think I've seen a side in the NRL that it's like when the boys play at Brookie Oval at the Fortress, like it's like a completely different side, eh? Like from when you play away or you come and play at Brookie, I've never seen a side be able to feed off a home ground advantage like it.
The home crowds that we get there are unbelievable.
Yeah.
And that hill aspect and the sort of local league feel that you get it's second to none. And you can see the way that we started games last year, and obviously some of the shots at Hamole and sort of guys like Josh Alloway and those guys are putting on. It's to be in there next to it. It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
Yeah. And yourself, mate. Don't feel free not to. You're a
I
heavy
remember
hitter.
playing Melbourne that night. I was sitting behind the post, and your dad was there. I think he scored opening try. But mate, watching how you blokes are up, you can almost tell from the first set how physical your forwards are to go, right, they're really on. But it's interesting talking about tempo, tempo of a game, not tempo on ball playing, but tempo in a game when you can start a million miles an hour, but you've got to have breaks. You pull it on. And you can see in other champion sides, in other sports, like a Barcelona, like some of the greatest players in the world, when Messi and Ronaldinho are there, they're going a million miles an hour, but they're able to consolidate. Then they sit back and they just push it amongst the back three, take their time, basically consolidate their lead or their advantage, then they go again. It's funny watching rugby league sides. Very few sides have a handbrake or know how to control a tempo. How to slow things down.
Yeah.
Here I am again, just going
You're
on
on
these crazy rants.
great-
Take it to Seeps.
I'm with you.
Take it
I
to
will.
Seeps.
It's funny that you mentioned that because the way that a lot of us defend is sort of up and under the ball, and a lot of intent in our tackle is to try and sort of hit and drive and hurt people, whereas some teams more absorb the contact and then wrestle you on the ground for ages. And a lot of our ruck control is something that we work really hard on because we can be a lot better at it because of how we tackle. So that's like being at Manly at Brookie and guys trying to kill other opposition. It's sort of a double-edged sword because if they end up getting half a quick play the ball, our ruck control is not where it needs to be able to then defend the next tackle the way that we want to.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, they hit the ground and bounce up.
It's funny that, it is. Was that from Des, you think? Was that a Des Hasler thing? Because he was less wrestle and more intent, right?
Well, a lot of Desi stuff was he only wanted 2 men in the tackle.
Yeah.
So then we'd have 11 or 10 in our line. Whereas a lot of other teams would try and get 3 in, have a slow third man out, and then the next line will go without the third man.
Yeah.
But Desi was all about having his sort of mini line A, B, either side of the ruck set. And a lot of us were there when Desi was there, and it's obviously a hard
habit.
to
Hard
break.
thing to break.
Well, it's a good thing that if you can still use it, but then implement the wrestling style, like you got the best of both worlds a little bit, because you still sometimes can end up in 2-man tackles, and you guys probably have an advantage on that. I remember when I was
Get into coaching.
oh mate, I thought about it, but I'm too funny. I thought
Well,
when I was
that's-
sorry, brother, when I was at Melbourne, I remember when we were doing footage on Manly, and obviously Des was the coach at the time. This is a little rap on yourself. I remember the first game of the year, they were like, there was a lot of heavy hitters in the middle, and Bellyache was doing video on you, and it was like, right, here we go, Lachlan Croker. And I'd been at your birthday the year before, and I was going, I wonder what he's going to say about him. I think I've told you this before. And Bellyache goes, let me tell you something, all right? They got a big pack. There's a lot of blokes that you don't want to run at. He said, your probably instinct is when you get the footy under fatigue to single out Lachlan Croker. He goes, I'll tell you right now, if you run at Lachlan Croker, you want to run hard because this bloke can bloody whack. And he just showed like a 10-minute highlights of Croaks just absolutely ironing blokes out for like 10 minutes.
Your Bellyache's style of play, if you look at Bellyache's favourite players of all time, they're
Hinchcliffe.
guys like Hinchcliffe, Dallas Johnson, Dale Finucane, guys who really punch above their weight. And he's down from around, he's an Oberon boy, down around that way. So
Yeah,
there you
yeah.
go, there's a little bit of bias there as well.
Yeah.
What about growing up there, Crookwell? How many people in Crookwell? Because Jack's partner's from Crookwell.
She is. There's about 2,500. Or when I was there, there's about 2,500. So she's grown a little bit, but she's pretty quiet.
What is it, mainly dairy farms?
Nah, it's
agriculture?
more, not a lot of dairy farming, a lot of sheep, cattle. Not sure if there's a lot of wheat stuff out there.
Your
but
old man's a sheep farmer, right?
He's a shearer. Oh, he's dropped out of school to be a shearer in year 10.
Yeah.
Then, sure for however long it was, and then ended up having to go back to finish high school to then go into the cops. So
Is he a copper as well?
He's a cop now, yeah. So
Shit.
It's
Yeah.
just speeding fines.
Yeah.
Well, on speed, John Wayne, Croaks has nearly lost his license, actually, just while we're on that. This Croaks right here. I remember you telling me a story about your old man. When he was a sheep shearer, did he used to do like 24-hour days or something?
yeah, he's a lunatic.
Yeah.
They're tough people.
Yeah, he was a tough old bastard. He started out in Mossvale, which is about an hour and a half from home.
Yeah.
So would work night shift all night, drive an hour and a half home, then he'd go straight into shearing the next day.
Animal.
Yeah, he's nuts. And then most of my childhood was him waking me up at 5:30 on a Saturday saying, I need your help, can you come shearing with me? And I used to pretend I was asleep and he couldn't wake me up. I used to bring mates out to my place knowing that he would wake me up the next day
Oh, no.
to go shearing, so I had someone to drag along with me.
How hard is it?
In this modern age, there's not enough respect for people like that.
Yeah.
I just listened to Joe Rogan with Bill Murray. Bill Murray was talking about when he sort of came through when he was in his mid-20s, in the 70s, and then into the early 80s. He said there was diminishing respect for older people then. And Bill Murray used to say, hang on a second, right? And they used to say, oh, they're a little stiff, they're conservative. He said, hang on a second, these people have gone through a world war. You know, a little bit of respect. It's very easy to sit there as an influencer and look at a dairy farmer like they have no respect for what those people go through and how tough they are and what they have to endure.
Yeah. How difficult is... I've never tried... You tried to shear a sheep before, Dad.
Mate,
How actual hard is it?
Yeah, it's that hard to put into words. You just need to spend a day out there and see what they do. And like a lot of the guys that be doing 200 sheep, like the younger, real good guys are doing 200 sheep a day.
Yeah.
And they're like the weight that they're lifting up in every sheep and dragging them out and then manhandling the thing.
Is that what the hardest part is? Just trying to...
And you bent over the whole time.
Yeah, yeah.
It's taking you probably changes from like age guys, but like 2 minutes ish to shear a sheep. And obviously you bent over the whole time, and you're doing that from 6 a.m. till 4 p.m. And then
control them with one hand.
And then you're drinking 400 beers that night, and then doing it again the next day.
Yeah. So how long did it take you to do it when you did it?
I couldn't do it.
You couldn't finish it?
I couldn't do it because there's an art form. You know, there's a rhythm or a certain way to do it. I had no idea. I get the sheep's fighting against you, and you're trying to hold it with one hand, and it was so awkward. I just couldn't do it.
Is that there's not a way of like, and this might be like a little bit of a question for animal cruelty, right? There's no way of doing it when it's asleep or like...
Oh, well, if it was drunk maybe, because it's like, you're asleep in the middle of the night. If you're drunk, maybe someone will shave your head.
Yeah.
But if you're just laying there in the middle of the night having a sweet dream, and someone walks in and suddenly starts shaving your head, it's probably a fair chance that you're going to wake up.
It'll wake up,
and you will struggle if you don't know them either.
Yeah.
I don't think the sheep and the farmers are on first name basis.
Did you play with Croaks' uncle, Jason Croker?
Played against a lot.
Yeah. Because the Croker family...
Strongest man. I think if you look at the strongest players that ever played the game, go way back, there would not be anyone stronger than Jason Croker. Scary strong. We had a night out one night in Canberra, and he did his party trick. Laurie Daly goes, "Come on, Croaks, toots, show us the trick." And I'm standing about to watch. It was Circus Olay stuff. But Croaks was 105 kilos and just grabbed a give way sign, held himself like...
Horizontal,
straight out like that.
Oh, wow.
It was like literally, it was Circus Olay, but a bloke who was 105 kilos.
Was he front rower?
No,
everywhere.
Outside backs, back row.
Block, half.
Mate, had the thickest forearms I've ever seen. And Laurie went through a stint that they're incredibly successful season in 1994. Laurie was out for a stint in the middle of the year, and Toots played 5'8". He was a nightmare to play against. He was just so strong, and he was quick too. Did you have much to do with him growing up?
I watched. I don't know how many times I sat in Canberra Stadium freezing, watching him play. I remember watching his last game, and Dad was so proud of him and the career that he had. And he used to tape his games on the old VCRs. And Dad's walk-in road back home there would have been 200 tapes in the bottom of the cupboard, and Dad took me over there every home game, to watch him, and some of the great memories of watching those guys, and then listen to guys like Andy Raymond that used to call those games back in those days. And it was a really cool sort of thing to look back on. And then I got to play with him at the Nines when I was in Canberra.
Yeah, right.
Sort of when I was 19, I think
Did
it was.
you?
Which is
Did you play in the Nines? Where was that, in Auckland?
That was Auckland, yeah.
Yeah, right.
So he was the sort of veteran player that would come back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that because I remember Freddie Fittler played. Was it in the same one?
I think he was here before.
Yeah, okay.
Got a great story about Toots. So they went away for the World Cup tour in 2000, and about halfway through the trip, you on those kangaroo tours, you'll break away. So there'll be a 5-day gap, and you'll say, righto, some blokes will go to Dublin, some blokes will go to Spain or whatever. Half the crew went to Barcelona, the other half went to Dublin. And the Dublin crew were blokes like, there was Joey, there was Ben Kennedy, and a few other blokes, and Toots. So it's one morning, and I'm sort of just at home, and I get a call, and it's Joey's number, and I go, "Hey, mate, what's going on?" And it's Toots. And he said, "Mate, I'm just telling you, mate, I'm holding your brother around with one hand calling. He's going berserk. He's having a panic attack because he's so far from home, and he's just acting like a peanut." And I could hear Joey just going, "Hey, I want to go home." What? He has these anxiety attacks when he's away from home. And, mate, Toots is going, "Don't worry, I'll look after him. What should I say to him?" I don't know, just tell him everything will be okay. "Mate, everything's going to be okay." "It's not going to be okay."
What, is that easy? Always been like that or something?
A little bit. Like talk to Brian and those blokes and Phil Bales. You know, there's a couple of times in retirement that he went over and had a stint overseas with them, like a week or so. And now he was just like OCD, just going, oh, man. He's a homebody.
Yeah,
it's like, you know, with the Vegas last week. He doesn't go over. He's a homebody.
Yeah, not because he couldn't get a visa or anything like that.
No, nothing to do with that.
No.
Surely not.
Sure,
No,
yeah.
but that's just what Joey's like.
Yeah, right. And then your cousins with, of course, Millie Boyle and Morgan Boyle. Well, Millie Elliott. Now, that's a great name, just quietly. Millie
Yeah.
Elliott, of course, after Billy Elliot. You ever seen that movie?
I thought you were going Missy Elliott.
Yeah,
but
Missy Elliott.
Oh, I was thinking Billy Elliot. You ever seen that movie? The tap dancing kid, and he's going. His dad doesn't want him in the northern of England. His dad doesn't want him to become a tap dancer, and he's like, I just want to dance at the ballet.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
He's a good move. You all right, mate?
Yeah.
Hello, Billy. What are you doing? Why'd you get a soccer ball?
Yeah.
I just want to dance.
Yeah, he said, you got to do what men box or play rugby. You know, they don't dance at the ballet. You ever seen it?
I don't need to see it now, do I?
Oh,
No,
you should watch
it.
spoiler alert, he can dance.
Have you had much to do with them? Obviously, you played with Morgan, right?
Yep.
Like, you played with Boyley, but did you grow up with them? Like, did you?
No.
Oh, really?
No. So they were pretty much, Shelley, his mum, was with David Boyle, who played with Toots.
Yeah.
And they lived down sort of far south coast. So our whole family, the rest of the family was pretty much in Crookle, and Toots was in Canberra, which is only about an hour away from where we were. And that was, we didn't see a whole lot of them because it was so far away, mainly just Christmas every couple of years. But no, I guess not really. I ended up living with Boyley when we played 20s in Canberra together.
Yeah.
And then he ended up following me to Manly, so I had a few years with him here too.
How's living with Boyley? Because those that don't know Morgan Boyle, he Boyley's best in small doses.
On the boil?
Like extremely small doses, like 10 minutes in a day.
Why?
Because you tell it, Coach.
No comment.
you tell him. He's like, he can just, some days you get in there and Boyley's, you know, he's real calm and he's awesome. And then some days he's in there and he's just flat out into you. Like he's got ADHD or something, mate. Like he just gets in, he just relentlessly.
He's got all the letters.
He'll punish you relentlessly. Like he'll just go after you. He'll be like, "What are you wearing that shirt for, Matty?" Like, "What are you?" And he'll just can go up to you and slap you on the back of the head and shit. Like he can pester you hard.
Sorry.
He's one of those blokes, if you need something done, you go to him and say, "Can you do this?" And he'll have no idea what to do, but he'll go, "Yeah, I can do that."
Yeah, he'll do it.
Trying to kill someone or something like that? We're talking
He can do that too.
No.
someone in a cornyard,
Yeah,
a cornfield.
yeah. Nah,
Crookwell.
back in Crookwell. All right, your Raiders career.
Hey, 1 second before we go
Oh,
any
yeah.
further, we're talking about Canberra boys. It's really interesting. So we're talking about the Boyles and the Croakers there. But you got the Hetheringtons and the Mullins. I always find this amazing. So Brett Hetherington is married to Brett Mullins' sister, and Brett Mullins is married to Brett Hetherington's sister. And they just all sort of cross over. And then you got Jack played with.
Yeah, I was about to say, so I was up at Newcastle, and I had, in the same year, we had Adam Elliott, who's now married to Millie Boyle. We had Jack Hetherington, and then no relation, but we had Matthew Croker up at Newcastle as well. But when Adzi rocked up to Newcastle, he'd refer to Matt Croker as Toots. So then, now that he bought into the family, Matty Croker now only refers to Adam Elliott as Toots. So all you hear at Newcastle is everyone calling each other Toots up there.
Yeah, where does the nickname Toots come
I've
from?
got a bone to pick with Matty about that too.
Matty Croker.
Yeah.
Why?
Oh, he can't take that name, can he?
Yeah, mate. They keep their bloodline thick down there. Yeah, you can't. So where does that Toots nickname come from? There. Why are all the?
I don't know.
Does it just come from?
Nen used to. The story I heard was Toots loves when he was a kid, used to love having his feet washed. So that's
like Jesus.
Little Tootsies, yeah.
I know Jesus. He did
a
it.
tough comparison.
He did it. John the Baptist to show humility. There you go.
Did he wash his feet or wash his shoes?
Washed his feet.
Oh,
Jesus
really?
did it. John the Baptist.
Jesus is.
There you go. And there I'm comparing Toots to John the Baptist.
Jesus. Well, it's a lot like.
Well, he's torn a few heads off in the back.
Yeah.
It's a great way to ruin a good story.
Yeah.
Because John the Baptist was beheaded.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, right.
again, more fun facts.
Exactly. Kurt Baptiste. Did you ever play with Kurt
I
Baptiste?
did play with Tiger. They
I
called him.
played with him as well. Up at the Sunshine Coast Falcons.
Yep.
I tell you what, Kurt Baptiste, he's also from PNG descent. Just silent dirtbag. After a few beers, eh?
I didn't know you were going to say dirtbag, but he's a very silent man. I was with him for 3 years, and I reckon I heard him say 4 words.
Yeah, until you give him 2 drops of alcohol, and it's like he swallows a dictionary with it. He dead set just all these words and stories start coming out, and I didn't even know what his voice sounded like until he had 2 beers. Dead set, Kurt Baptiste.
That makes me feel a lot better. I saw him at a hotel one day in Melbourne. They were playing the Storm, and when Jim said it was his first year, and said, "Oh, Kurt, how you doing? I said, I'm really, mate, good on you. I've been watching your debut season. You're going really, really good. And he just blanked me.
Yeah,
and I thought to myself, okay, did I say something about him somewhere?
Yeah, no, I played with him for 6 rounds before I literally heard him say a word to me. All right, what about Raiders? Because you made your debut down at the Canberra Raiders, 2016?
Yeah.
2016. What was it like down there?
When I was there, it was the best thing ever.
Yeah.
I could have lived there for the rest of my life. But upon moving to Sydney, then realising there's more to life than Canberra, and being sort of quieter lifestyle, big country city type style was sat really well with me back then. But now I don't know if I got it in me to go.
What were the circumstances? Because you debuted there, you only played 1 game, I think it was. And then before moving back, what were the circumstances? Like, I'm not setting you up for a thing or anything.
It's a loaded question coming.
But was it like, because you were a bit of a boom junior, like you played under 18s Origin, under 20s Origin, 5'8", big raps coming through, then you play 1 first grade game. Why did Canberra, like what happened?
It's a good question, though. So I played the round 2 game of 2016. Blake Austin and Aiden Caesar were the starting halves there at the time, and they were both out for a considerable amount of time, and it was myself and Sammy Williams playing at the time. And originally I was supposed to get sort of the next 2 or 3 games because of the long-term injury to those guys, and ended up getting halfway through that game and subluxing my shoulder. I had a Rico the year before, and I just come back, subluxed my shoulder, and in my head, subluxing my shoulder felt like a dislocation. So I've come off the field pretty much in tears, thinking my year's over again.
Yeah.
Ended up going inside, getting everything tested, and I was still strong and ready to play. So I went back onto the bench for the second half and was going to go back on. That didn't eventuate that way. We ended up winning by 1. And sort of the next week went in to talk to Sticky and find out where the rest of the week and season looked like for me, and basically just said you can play cup or you can have the week off. And I in my head I'm going, well, I'm not a cat, I'm not having a week off for nothing, so I'll just play cup. And I don't know if that ended up hurting me maybe in the long run, but I never played NRL again. Played the rest of that year in cup, and then played the following year in cup as well, and nothing eventuated down there, and obviously found myself in Sydney the year after that.
I remember when you come to Sydney, Lachlan, and you came here, and Trent Barrett was coaching at the time, and the belief at the time is they had a difficult season the year before, and everyone was saying, okay, we just want Daly Cherry-Evans to just float around, right? Play second banana. Lachlan, it's your side. I remember thinking to myself, this is hugely unfair. That was a lot of pressure to go to a new club. Playing alongside, at that time, the bloke who'd just broken into State of Origin football and being told, mate, he likes it just, free will, at your side. How was that? Did you feel a lot of pressure?
To be honest, not really. I was just, in my head, 2 months before that, I was going to Q Cup and I was going to battle my way for another contract and maybe find a way back into an NRL team again. So just to be there, I was stoked. But yeah, leading into that season, and Ches obviously playing such a flamboyant and carefree style of footy, there were sort of 2 or 3 training sessions throughout that pre-season where I was the only one that was allowed to talk.
Oh, really?
So we would do...
We used to do a similar drill like that. Yeah.
But you're just getting to know these blokes as well, and getting to know the system. That's difficult.
Yeah, it was. But Ches has just got such a way with people, and I felt really comfortable around him, and it felt like he had so much confidence in me when he probably shouldn't have. And that year went the way it was, and then towards the back end of the year after, I started realising that maybe I'm not that good at this, and thankfully we ended up here.
Yeah, I've seen that plenty of times, right, with halves, because the best example I could give you was Danny Badiris. Has been an Australian schoolboy who played in the halves, came to that level in playing lower grades and just felt too much responsibility having to steer the side around the park. And it was a game at the very end of, might have been 1998, and we had lots of injuries, and Malcolm really just said, mate, I'm just going to throw this young kid at hooker, see how he goes. I remember walking off at half-time, looking at Bedsy and going, mate, are you okay? He was just absolutely nailing everything that moves, and he'll tell you now, going to 9 just completely freed him up. For him, I imagine for you, Lachlan, effort is nothing. Playing tough is nothing. It's all liberating.
Yeah, and I was the exact same. I felt like the result sat on my shoulder I couldn't sleep at night thinking about the way the games were going, and felt like I had so much responsibility. I was letting so many people down around me. And then exactly as you said, that I'm happy to go into a game now and try and fold as many blokes as I can and walk off as sore as I can and realise that and feel like I've done my job, and then it's on Ches and Brooksy and Turbo to get the result for us. So, the last few years have been really sort of directed at that, and I've been really comfortable with.
Had you ever played hooker before that? Or never in juniors or anything? You'd always played 5'8" halfback?
Yep.
Yeah, right.
Halves and 5'8" make great hookers, because he used to, oftentimes in juniors, you'll see the hooker just be told, fire the ball from the ground, where I think Cameron Smith came through.
Cameron Smith debuted as a halfback against the Bulldogs. I think it was 2001 or 2002. Yeah. Harry Grant used to play halfback when he was young, and then I think at about 15, 16 changed. I think
it's interesting, people who, to listen to what you just said there, it's really interesting to wake up the morning after the game, the physical pain feels good. Like mental anguish compared to physical anguish is like 20 times worse, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's always, and like you said, as a halfback or even a Turbo, as the marquee man, when you lose a game, whether you play good or not, you rarely come off the field. Like people just don't. You don't come off. You have to be a very selfish player to come off and go, well, I scored 3 tries. Like I don't care that we lost, because at the end of the day, if you're the main man, you wear that loss so bad. Like it doesn't matter how good you played individually, right?
Yep. It was debilitating for me. Like if we lost on a Friday, I was gone for 3 days. Like my missus couldn't talk to me. I wouldn't want to talk to anyone. If my family came up to watch the game, I couldn't go and have breakfast with them the next morning and talk to them like a normal person.
Yeah,
it's all I thought about 24/7 all the time.
I totally get that.
Yeah.
True Shoals is exactly the same. I used to sleep with a notebook next to my bed, wake up in the middle of the night and write 5 pages of notes. Most of those exercise books are still there. I'll let it flick through if you want. You might move back to the halves. I won't let you throw them out. Yeah. But I totally get it. It actually absorbs your whole life. You can't let it go.
What about, I wanted to ask you before we spoke about, like, Dad asked you about when you first went there, you had to sort of be more the controller and let Ches be that running free flow style. Can I ask you, because everybody has their own opinion of Daly Cherry Evans, right? Did you have an opinion of what he was like prior to coming to Manly?
Are we talking off the field?
No, just as a bloke, because a lot of people see a side of him in the media, or see particularly back in that day after the whole Titans backflip stuff. People hammered him in the media, and people made him out to be a really bad bloke. But what was your opinion of prior to going there, and then what was your opinion after a week of hanging out with him?
Same as everyone else before.
Oh, you thought the same thing?
Well, it's hard not, like, he's obviously a very articulate, well-spoken person. You just look at him and think you're a nerd.
Yeah. Too polished.
Yeah. And then meeting him, and the last few years he's changed so much as a person and the way that he leads people and interacts with people, and he's a really good guy that feels like he's got everyone's best interests at heart, and still a nerd, don't get me wrong, but a nerd that...
Well, he's a bit of a secret dirtbag.
A nerd that secret dirtbag nerd, but nerd that we love.
Yeah.
What about Tommy Turbo? Is he a secret dirtbag? Man, he's a cranky prick. Sometimes,
he can get cranky.
He hates Fletcher and Hindy with a passion.
He does hate Fletcher. He hates doing media, eh?
Yeah.
He hates it.
Well, he just hates talking to people in general.
I saw him one day when we turned up rookie for the Leon Hamole thing, and he looked over and Fletcher and Hindy was there, and literally just went, "Oh, what are those fuckwits doing?"
He said, "You know what, mate? I never understood." Probably because of a lot of his injury stuff, and I reckon he's just sick of the media. Like, he's copped it for 4 years of just like, how's your injury? He's been asked the same question 1,000 times. How's your body? How's your body? I reckon he's just sick of talking to the media about it. But he's such a good bloke. When he's in a good mood, Turbo, in and around training, geez, he's a good bloke.
Yeah, it's good fun. Even if I throw him a forward pass because he's overrun me. Sorry, mate. No, my bad.
You do?
Sorry. Yeah.
How's his... Well, we won't ask him, but how's his body been leading into this preseason? He finished the year last year playing for Australia in the centres. He played outstanding.
Yeah, he looks really good.
Yeah.
He looks really good. The staff that we've got at the club have such an individualised program for him and have worked really hard on getting his body to where it is now. And then I think the key thing is to perform at such a high speed and high level for an extended amount of time is always good for his body. So they put a lot of work into him, and he looks really good. And if he's fit and healthy, we'll be somewhere there.
Is it time, Coops?
Oh, you want to do it?
Let's do it. It's,
All
tough,
right,
it's
go.
tough talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me intro it for Croaks. Now, this is it's actually an award-winning segment now. It's nearly won podcast segment of the year. It's the hard questions. All right, Croaks. Now, look, you probably haven't been asked these sort of hard-hitting questions before, but Dad's going to hit you right between the eyes, and you have to answer it. Okay? Dad, you go.
You were at Delhi Evans's wedding, weren't you? You were there. Yeah. Did Cooper's jokes, did they go, were there any that you thought went too far, Lachlan?
The disabled toilet probably went too far.
Oh, you're right. I got
We
you.
have. I don't know if that one's public knowledge. Croaks. Yeah, look, you probably, that one.
Is that the old one we talk about, where smokers out the back and blah, blah, blah?
Yeah. That was look, that was in bad taste. You know what? It was the worst part of telling that joke was it was definitely right for majority of the room, but Ches and his lovely partner Vessa, right in front of me, it was the table for like a lot of their aunties and uncles and grandparents and stuff.
Gotcha.
And that went over their heads.
Sure.
But afterwards, which is fine, I don't mind it going over their heads, but afterwards they were asking me about what it meant, and I couldn't tell them because it was just way too awkward.
Yeah, what was you doing with that, Cooper? What's getting you going on?
But I left Croaks alone. I didn't really go at Croaks.
What, you didn't do the Croaks jokes that we practiced?
Which
that
Croaks jokes?
The ones that you're going to talk about.
I didn't. I wasn't gonna. Oh no, I didn't have any jokes written about Croaks.
Yes, you did.
What?
Yes, you
Nasals,
did.
nasals,
We had a few Croaks down that
Jim.
Cooper worked on. He must have decided that after the disabled toilet one, just take a step back.
Well, Croaks is my mate. I wouldn't go at my mate like that.
Well, Croaks will let you be the judge. Ready? Some of these. This is.
Are these the jokes? Have you
Yeah,
got?
these are jokes.
Oh,
Just
yeah,
remember
go.
the one with Brad Parker where you said, he was dressed in all black, and you
Funeral.
went, great to see he's come back from a funeral.
Yeah, condolences.
He said, and it's good to see Lachlan Croker here, or as the coaching staff called him after a less than memorable season, Lachlan Joker. Speaking of the Joker people, what's the difference between Joaquin Phoenix and Lachlan Croker? When Joaquin goes to work, he has more hits than misses.
That's a good one.
What are you looking at me? I'm telling them.
But as we all know, Croaks is a real joker. In fact, he made a hilarious joke earlier about this being a sham marriage. I can't remember the full joke, but the punchline is, this marriage will not fucking last. But being a Crookwell boy, this wedding is a real novelty for Lachlan. It's the first wedding he's been to where the bride and groom aren't brother and sister.
I saw that coming from a mile away.
You tell, I was waiting for an incest.
And on that note, don't Croaks and his sister look fabulous tonight? I just want to apologise to everyone from Crookwell because I'm used to those jokes. I'm from Cessnock.
Yeah, I know.
And that was tough talk.
Geez, I actually wish that you had given me that last one. I would have used those incest ones. They were very good.
Incest jokes are the best jokes.
They're always
I've
funny.
always said that. They're great jokes.
Have you been copping that your whole life? Incest ones?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dad still gets it.
I
from
still get it
Cessnock.
all the time, And they're all true, by the way.
Yeah.
Because Trisha's my sister.
Yeah.
We just say she's Italian.
Of course. Hey, look, we've got one last segment for you as well. Right, it's not like that. This one's called Lone Survivor, and this is a game, and this is to find out your greatest ever teammate. So I'll give you two names, and you just pick, and we rattle off one by one until we end up with the King of the Ring right at the end. All right?
You ever play with Terry Campese, by the way?
Nah, I didn't.
Geez, Campo, the last couple of years have been unusual. Campo, of course,
What's
was
he
going to
doing
run for politics. Now he's become a wrestler.
What?
As in Campo. Yeah, he's a wrestler.
He's in Queensland somewhere, isn't he? I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Campo wrestling?
Black
Yeah,
Hawks.
he's-
Black
Blackhawks.
He's played the Blackhawks, but he's become a professional wrestler. I like Campo. I like him.
Yeah, he used to.
There's a bit of mongrel about him, wasn't there?
Yeah, a bit of shit in the liver.
yeah,
His Uncle David
Tell
was.
you what, big fella for a 5'8".
Yeah,
What was?
big
How much would he have weighed? You reckon?
Oh, maybe, I don't know, 106, 107.
Jesus, mate, it's a big
Lower.
5'8". Lower. Yeah, Larry, I'm done. All right, now this is look, and you can take this whoever you want, whether it's greatest teammate to play, like best player you've ever played with, or what. All right, let's start it off. Jordan Rapana or Dylan Walker?
Dylan Walker.
Dylan Walker or Josh Papali?
Dylan Walker.
Dylan Walker or Appy Coruscant?
Dylan Walker.
Dylan Walker or Luke Brooks?
Luke Brooks.
Brooksy or Aden Fanua Blake?
Aden.
Aden or Jack Whiten?
Jack Whiten.
Jackie Whiten or Hamole?
Molly.
Hamole or Kieran Foran?
Foz.
I know you love Foz, don't you?
Mate, who doesn't love him?
Yeah. Oh, gee, you got some good Foz stories. Foz or Jake Turbo?
Foz.
Foz or Tom Turbo?
Foz.
Oh, gee, okay. Foz or Dally Chervins?
Foz.
Oh, all right. And now this is the big one. Foz or Cooper Giants? No, Foz. Foz wins.
Preseason MVP.
Yeah, mate, I know, 100 grand. You know what's funny? I saw, of course, the probably shouldn't say this, but anyway, I'll say it because when have I ever stopped myself?
We spared nothing
We
so
spared
far.
no expense. We saw the over in Vegas, Tony Mestroff, of course, who is the CEO.
And desperate.
And Scott Penn, who's the owner of Manly. And I'd had a couple under my belt at this stage. And I walked in, and someone was talking to him, and I walked over and said g'day, and they went, "Oh, here he is," and then they went, "Oh, the greatest." They said the greatest. It was Clint Newton, I think it was. He goes, the greatest Johns to ever sign at Manly, and Mezzy and Penny laughed. And I went, what are you blokes? What are you blokes laughing at? I said, I'm the only player that you've ever had that paid off their contract within the first 2 months. And Messi goes, what do you mean? I said, I bloody won you 100 grand in the pre-season challenge. I said, I was only on minimum wage. I paid it off straight away. I said, I'm probably the only one that got you into a profit.
Yeah.
And he went, that's actually true.
It's like the old Castle thing. What did I tell you? It just paid for itself.
Literally,
That's what they would have set up in the coach's box.
I paid itself off. I didn't depreciate it all.
But that was a 2-man sauna out of that.
Did I?
Yeah, thank you.
Did you what?
Wow. I'm looking to buy a sauna. How much did that cost?
Yeah, how much was the sauna?
Not 100 grand.
Tell them
Nah.
we're dreaming.
So yeah, you still got you still got a bit left then in the car. Look it over my way.
How many years you got left, Chris?
I'm there till the end of next year.
Yeah, it's good.
So
That's good.
Do you want to be a one club player? Like, I mean, not you played at Raiders, but do you want to finish your career at Manly, ideally, or?
yeah, I love the joint. I love living here. My partner loves it. It's a club that feels like I've been sort of like a junior club for me, and I've been here for a long time, and I'm passionate about the results that we get because I love the joint so much, and I think that's when you know that you feel that way, you want to stay there for a long time. So we'll see how that goes.
Beautiful. And before we let you go, I want to ask why did Kieran Foran beat all those blokes out?
Oh mate, you know Fozzie.
It's pretty obvious, Coops.
Is it his off? Is it how much you love him off field, or is it an on field thing?
Oh,
as well?
both. You can have a full conversation with Fozzie and he hasn't listened to a word you said, and he'll just talk something else straight at you. And he's just one of those guys you just got to love. And he's a tough old bastard, isn't he?
Oh, he is tough. How his body's still together.
You
I love him.
would, at their peak, put him and Jeff Tuvey in the boxing ring together, it'd be round 105 for the result. They are two tough hombres. I remember once Kieran they played the Gold Coast Titans, and he was opposite. Each defender that he was up against was Sammy Tagatisi, who could hit like Hamole, and Foz just kept running gun barrel straight, putting short passes on, and just suffering for his art continually. He was every time. I reckon he emptied him out 6 times. Never discouraged him.
Yeah, I don't reckon there's certainly not a tougher halfback, but pound for pound, he's got to be one of the toughest players ever. Right?
Not even considering what he's like all the injuries that he's gone through, all the stuff that he's gone through off the field. He was dead and buried 5 years ago, 5 or 6 years ago.
Spot on.
Yeah.
He was gone. Every time he got tackled, Lachlan, you went, is he going to get up or pull a hamstring? And it's been remarkable his comeback. His brother Liam was a good player as well. He spent a little bit of time at the Storm. He was a good footballer.
He's got a bigger nose than me, Snork.
Who, Liam?
Yeah, he got a huge snot box on him.
Yeah, they reckon he was doing the backstroke one day at the front of here, and people were yelling shark.
Yeah,
That's what apparently
That's
people were
fun.
saying.
Yeah, funny. He broke his nose in a life-saving operation.
Anyway, thanks, Croaks, mate. A pleasure as always to see you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're going to catch up with our...
Thank you, matey.
Croaks, mate, I've
Pleasure.
admired you for a long time and know you feel the same.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Since that.
See you at the birthday.
Thank you.